Hey guys, Furum here, and today I'm going to be testing the FV Frangivento Sorpasso GT3 at Golden Max in multiplayer in Asphalt 9. I hope I pronounced that right. Please consider subscribing if you have not already, and be sure to check out my Furum Clips channel, Furum TV channel, and Purple Team Discord. All those will be linked down in the description, and I hope you enjoy the races. This is one of those cars where when you look at it from the front, you think, yeah, this car looks pretty normal. And then you look at it from the back and you realize it is most definitely not normal in the design. From the back, it almost reminds me of the Inferno, the first one that was added to the game, but not quite, I guess, as ridiculous as that. Anyways, you guys don't want to hear about the car's looks, you want to hear about the car's performance. And it performs decently, I would say. That is basically how I would put it in a nutshell. There's nothing too special about it. It doesn't have any particularly standout aspects, aside from the acceleration being quite good. So I was able to pull ahead in the beginning a lot of times, which allowed me to get some bit of a lead, at least on those XJRs, which would catch up to me throughout the race, but we'll talk about that later. The rest of its stats are fairly average. The top speed tops out at 252 miles per hour with nitro, which by Class S standards is not very good. The nitro is quite short, although not the shortest in Class S, and the drifting and handling are just so-so. It's kind of a mixed bag of mostly mediocrity. Hey, that would make a good title. Even though it doesn't look good on paper, in the season where I played with it, it was fairly decent. Now, I did have a limited car selection. The main competition was the XJR, which we see our first of in the video in this race. We also had SC18s, which put up a fairly decent fight a lot of the time. Not a good thing to say when you're driving an S-Class car, to be fair, and the 911 GT3 RS, which I was able to beat handily most of the time. The cars that I mostly faced were XJRs and SC18s. I did not see a lot of other Frangiventos at all. I just think people did not really enjoy driving this car a lot, and I can see why. It's not obviously the worst feeling car, but it's a bit lumbering. It's not the most agile car, and it's a bit awkward to drive. It feels weirdly sandwiched in between the SC18 and the XJR, in the fact that the SC18 is definitely a more agile car that's slower but does well on handling-oriented tracks, and the XJR is an absolute beast on anything top speed-based. This one is kind of in the middle. It's sort of a jack-of-all-trades while not being particularly amazing at anything, but in some cases, this did actually pay off, and I was able to get ahead of the SC18s, while also the XJRs were not able to get up to their top speed quick enough to be able to pass me. So it was a blessing and a curse depending on the track. As you may be able to tell, I have very mixed feelings on this car as a whole. You can currently obtain it in its Grand Prix. This is a interesting story. I was trying to get into Tier 4 in this Grand Prix like I did for the AMG GT Black Series that just finished, which I was able to win in Tier 4. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll do that again. I'll try to sandbag and get into a lower tier. But I think this time I forgot to wreck or something in one of the qualifiers, which is typically how I try to get into a lower tier. I just wreck once throughout the race and I get a few seconds behind. Must have forgotten to do that once, got put into Tier 1, where only the top 5 players out of 15 get the car. And obviously in Tier 1, there's going to be a lot of people who are willing to spend tokens to star up the car to get it in the Grand Prix, which I'm not willing to do. In fact, I cannot really, after I spent most of my tokens on the XJR packs. Did not get the car, but I talked about that in my last video. I'll probably finish around the middle of the pack in 8th or so position. Currently I'm 7th, but the 6th round has yet to complete at the time of recording this. I didn't do very well on rounds 1 through 4, but on round 5, I somehow managed to get 4th place, which made up for a lot of that. 35 points versus a maximum of 10 on the rest of them. Still not entirely sure what happened there. I didn't feel like I drove a particularly amazing round compared to the other runs, but maybe I did, who knows. And before I forget, like I have in the past 3 videos, there's currently a poll up on my channel, if you go to the community tab, where you can vote on the car out of 4 choices to be used in the upcoming creator event that me and Admega, who is a Spanish Asphalt YouTuber, who some of you may know, are kind of collaborating with Gameloft in order to host. Admega has a poll on his channel where you can choose the track for the car, and of course I have the car, And currently it looks like Tryon is running away with the votes on my channel and Paris is running away with the votes on his channel, so we're probably going to get a Tryon on Paris, which is going to be a very interesting combination for sure, and I'm pretty sure his choices are 120-second tracks, so I think that'll be fun. I put the Shelby on there as well, and some people have asked me why my car choices are the way they are. The reason is I was very limited in the choices I could actually choose. Some cars were not available due to being toward the top of their classes, and I guess, I don't know, Gameloft wanted to save those for other things, or they may have other events of some sort coming soon. So yeah, obviously cannot give any details on which cars were or were not available, because that would give away which cars may or may not be coming soon. But yeah, that is basically in a nutshell why the car selection was so limited. And in this case, the Tryon Nemesis's very low rank in S-Class kind of came in handy in this case, because if it were much higher up in its class, I probably would not have been able to play it. Although I'm sure some people are thinking, well, I'm going to have to play in the Tryon Nemesis now. Other people are thinking, yay, I get to play in the Tryon Nemesis now. I know it's a car that some people don't like, but a lot of people do, and so I'm hoping that overall, it will be a fun event. Another thing a lot of people have asked me about is what will the rewards be? I also do not know that yet, and Asphalt will be making a poll on their own channel about that at some point. The last thing is some people were thinking that they would have to own the car in order to play in the event, and this is not the case. It will be a max free try like most other themed events. And with that, we've come to our final race in the video, which, hey, look at that. It's the same track as the first race in the video. Let's see if I'm able to take this barrel roll better. I completely failed it the first time. And yes, I went a bit lower and was able to get it this time. That's such a finicky forced barrel to get. If you go too high like I did on the first race, you go way in the air and lose a lot of speed. If you go too low, you don't even hit the barrel, and then you're left without any nitro for the first many seconds of the race, and everybody who did get it right will pass you. Now it's time for my general review of the Frangivento Sorpasso GT3. What a mouthful. This car is honestly fairly low in Class S. Only the acceleration is really a standout in terms of the stats, and the rest of its stats are fairly mediocre at best. None of them are particularly, horrible though. The nitro may be a little annoying in some cases, but overall I was able to pull out some decent wins, although the XJR is still a better car overall, I would say. This one is not horrible. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video if you have enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt, Forza, Minecraft, and other games content. And I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!